Hey guys, I wanted to shoot one more quick video on finishing up this hide because when I last left you it was on the verge of being finished. Had a little bit more moisture deep inside the skin, but since then it's dried and I've continued to work it, and I want to show you how to go ahead and finish this hide up real nice. Depending on how you want to use your hide will determine if you want to do these next couple steps or not. Now it's going to involve me using pumice. This is something I picked up from Matt Richards' series. He uses pumice, and I tell you what, this is incredible. I call it my magic eraser because I could go ahead and anywhere where I probably dropped this thing in mud half a dozen times while working on it, or it might have some staining. This hide was heavily stained from my ash, and you definitely don't need to have your hide that stained. You could definitely, when you make a lye solution, scoop out the ash once the lye has leached into the water, or you can wash your hide off really well after you take it out of the solution, so there won't be any ash to stain it. In this case, there was, and this is the grain side I'm on right now. It was pretty stained. I got this thing cleaned up a little bit better. It's never going to be snow white. It's kind of an off-white. But this stuff is incredible. When you start rubbing it on here, it takes out any staining, but it also brings out some of the underlaying fibers and fluffs them up to the top. And this just texturally makes this thing feel incredible. It's like absolutely velvety soft. I love doing this when I want an extra nice hide. If I'm going to smoke a hide, I probably won't worry about this grain side too much because it's going to be smoked. You won't see any staining or whatnot. But sometimes I might go ahead on the flesh side and just fluff this up real nice because that's going to be the side that rides my skin. And even now it doesn't matter. This membrane and stuff that's on here, I mean, it feels like fleece. It won't irritate you at all. But I'm just going to show you how, if you want an extra nice white hide, I mean, someday I'd love to make, a set of clothes with the white stuff, call it my Sunday clothes, and see how that goes over. But I'll just show you that this works absolutely incredibly for taking off. You can take off any of the membrane that's left. You kind of have to dig in, and I'll show you how I normally set it up, but just want to give you an idea. But this just could really take out, and this isn't something you want to do inside either. I don't want to do too much because it's going to make a mess. But this not only cleans up the hide and takes out any staining, it takes off the membrane, and man, it makes it like super white, but also it feels incredible after it's done. I mean, I can't get over how awesome this stuff feels every time. So this is something you might want to consider when you want a really extra nice hide. And you could do this anytime the hide is pretty much almost dry. You can start working, taking off some of this membrane, and I'll go ahead and take some off and show you some close-ups of this hide now that it's almost done, and show you so you get a kind of an idea of just how nice this thing is. But I pretty much worked this whole grain side already with the pumice, and I got a lot of the staining out. I'll just try to show you some close-ups, but man, I love how this stuff feels. Alright guys, I don't know how well this is going to pick up, but I am on the grain side. Just trying to get an idea of how nice this is. I mean, this is never going to do it justice. You kind of have to hold this thing and feel it. It's absolutely, I just love the texture of this stuff. And if you've never felt it, I mean, you can't really, you won't really understand. But especially now after I've rubbed this with the pumice, oh man, I can't get over how it's like velvety soft. And just trying the other camera setting real quick, see if this picks up any better. This thing is uniformly super soft, super beautiful. It's like super pliable. Alright guys, let me just give you a little idea how I might go ahead cleaning this up with the pumice. And this is really nice. This is a trick you could do like in the later stages when your hide is almost dry too. When most of it's almost dry, but there's still some deep down fibers that might be a little damp. This friction will help dry it out and soften at the same time. So this is something you can do while your hide's almost done. But really, I just step on the one end so I create tension and pull up with my other opposite hand. and just really aggressively get in there. And I can take off any of that membrane. At the same time, I'm making this really white, and I am really fluffing this hide out. Let's tell you about this. It's amazing. Alright, let me show you what I just did. Try to get close up. Trying to get in the light to see if this is coming out. But this is where there's still a lot of membrane. As you go up, this is where I just worked it. It's nice and fluffy. Most of the membrane's off. You can actually see some vein trails in there. Now this just is, texturally this feels incredible. Alright guys, so I just finished up with my pumice there. I cleaned the side up pretty good. This is the grain side. It's fairly white. And this is the flesh side. I got a lot of that shag off, some of that membrane. And there's still some light staining going on, but some of that has to do with the amount of ash I had on this hide. But for the most part, it's fairly white, really super soft, super flexible. And one last thing I might do to call this hide done is to go right around the edge here. And right around the edge, no matter how good of a job you did softening, either by a frame or by hand, it's always a little bit crinklier. It's a little stiffer there. It usually hardens up right around the very edge. So I would usually go around with a pair of scissors or a knife and just trim off about an 1/8 inch all around this hide. Up by the neck it might be a little stiffer. I might lose like a 1/4 inch, but it's really nothing major. It's just I want to eliminate the very outer edge that's a little stiffer, leaving me with a really uniformly soft hide once I remove it all. I mean, hardly losing anything. You have to consider too, if you did this by frame, you'd have, you know, holes all around your hide, a good maybe 1/2 inch all the way in. So you'd be trimming that all off anyway, or leaving holes in your hide. So this isn't anything major. It's just to really make the hide real nice and have no crinkly spots on the outer edge. So I'm just going to go right around the edge with a pair of scissors here and do that. And you know, if I was going to smoke this hide, I might not worry about this yet, because usually I smoke hides in pairs. So I get 2 hides of the same color, and I like sewing hides back to back, doing them in sets. But you could definitely fold a hide over on its backbone like a pillowcase to smoke. And usually I glue the seams together because you want to make a closed, kind of like a pillowcase. So I might not trim off the stiff area yet because I'm going to glue it first, and then once I smoke it I might just trim off the glue and the stiff area all at once. But I think this hide is going to stay white. I'm not going to smoke this hide. So just as a last step, I'm just going to trim right around the edge, making it really nice. Now, I had enough people say they'd like to see a smoking video, and I don't smoke my hides any differently than anyone else, but I do have the other hide that I'm working on, so I think I will, you know, show me smoking that hide. I don't know if I'll show me softening that hide, because basically the mechanics are the same, everything's the same. I'm just going to be working on that little hide, and that hide's so small it's going to tan up in no time. And I mean, unless someone had questions more about softening, but I covered most of it in the other video. But I probably will show me smoking that hide so you get an idea of how I smoke hides. But I'm just going to go right ahead and start trimming this up. Alright guys, here we have it, the finished hide. Flush side. Grain side. And that's a nice piece of buckskin right there.